think it's rolling. Hi everybody and welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia and in this week's live lesson we are going to talk about how to improve your writing skills. So for this week's live lesson I have created 6 tips for you to help you work on your writing skills specifically. So if this is something that you struggle with or you're not sure how to practice, I hope that this lesson will give you a few really good ideas. And of course, if you have ideas, you can send them in the comments or send them in the live chat and everybody can find something new. So as you join, please make sure to hit the like button and share this video so that other people can find today's lesson. That would be super cool. While we wait for people to join us live, a couple quick announcements. As always, the first one is about this banner at the bottom of the screen. It says test your level now. So if you have not checked it, the team has a level check test for you that is totally free. So you can find this from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. You will find this page right here. So if you check this, you will find, if you scroll down a bit on the page, you will find some details about the test, the level check test, and a sample of what your results will look like. So if you check the test, take the test, you will get some recommendations for lessons, for courses, and pathways to take at EnglishClass101.com. So if you don't know what to study next or maybe what your level is, get some ideas, you can check this out. Hopefully that is helpful for you. So definitely check it out. I hope that that's good for many people out there. It's free. You just need your name and your email address to access that. That is announcement number 1. Announcement number 2 is, as always, if you have questions for me, please send them to me. Please send them to me for our weekly Q&A series called Ask Alicia. This is a very old screenshot from that. But you can send them to me at EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alicia. That is a very long URL, so check the link in the YouTube description to find the official link to the official question submission page. So please send me your questions to the official submission page. I will not see your question if you write it in YouTube or Instagram direct message or Facebook comment. There's just way too many, so please make sure you send them to me on the official question submission page, and I will definitely read your question 100%, and maybe I'll choose it. So please send me your questions there, and if you want to find me on social media, you can find my Twitter and my Instagram links in the YouTube description also. Okay, so that is it for our announcements for this week. It looks like everything is rolling. Facebook, you're here. YouTube is here. Everybody is here. Great. I see lots of people in the YouTube chat. Welcome, everybody. I see Matthew. Hello. Jonathan. Hello. Sabrine. Hello. Santo. Daniela. Suarenka. Miguel. What's up? Someone whose name I can't read. Hello. Okay, welcome, everybody. Facebook, you're here too. Hi, Facebook. Let's see, Hiroshini, hello. Goku, hello. Fausto, how are you doing? I'm great. Okay. Abwan, hello. Jenny, Abdullah, Hari, hello. Oh, I can't read your names when they're not written in Roman letters, but hello to all of you. Great. Everyone is here. Please make sure, if you have not, hit the like button and share this video so other people can find the lesson. I will do that right now. I will like and I will share this video. Done. Okay, so let's take a look at today's topic. Today's topic is how to improve your writing skills. So I selected 6 tips, 6 ways that you can work on your writing skills specifically, and of course, improve your language skills overall. So let's take a look at today's lesson boards. If you want to take a screenshot, now is your first chance. So here is what we're going to talk about today. We'll talk about everyday practice and how you can read to improve your writing. In part 2, we'll talk about how to kind of borrow from other people and the importance of punctuation. And third, we'll talk about just how to copy effectively and how to ask for feedback, asking someone else for their advice. Okay, so let's get into part 1 for today's lesson. All right, so part 1 includes the most basic tip. I think I talk about this a lot. I say you should review, always review. This is true for writing as well. So for writing practice, make sure you write every day. Write every day. So when I say write every day, I mean make some time every day to practice your writing. For example, you can make a daily journal habit. So you can write in an actual journal. You can write on paper. Some people I know like to use Twitter to do that. You can maybe write in your phone, notes app, whatever. Just make it a daily habit. So you can practice present, past, and future tenses with this. So this means you can write about your schedule with present tense. You can write what you did that day or what you did that week. Or you can write about what you're going to do to practice those future tenses. So when you do it in a journal, you don't have to worry, like, is it perfect or is the message correct? It's just to get the practice of writing. So this is one thing you can do every day, just a few minutes every day. You can write about your life and write about your thoughts, so your opinions, your ideas, and so on. These are just basic kind of simple ideas, simple topics that you can write about every day, right? So you make it a habit, something that you do all the time, every day, like every morning or at lunchtime or maybe at the end of the day, whatever that is. Just try to make a habit, yeah? Try to make a little time every day to practice your writing, okay? The second point, maybe you think like, oh, this is kind of seems strange. The second point is read. This is tip number 2. This is a very important tip. So to improve your writing, a really good thing you can do is read. So why do I say this? So read writing from different writers, yeah? Because there are many different ways to write, of course. So there are many different styles, there are different vocabulary words that we use, there are different rhythms that we use. So we have to read lots of different types of writing to understand what we like and what we want to write like and so on. So reading is a really important thing to do, okay? So read writing from different writers and read different styles of writing. So different styles of writing means, for example, news or stories, like you reading a book, you know, reading someone else's life story or a fantasy story maybe. You can read social media, you can read magazine articles. So read different styles of writing and kind of pay attention. Look at, how is the news article different from the storybook type, like style. So there are different things that you can notice when you look at these different styles of writing. So these will be really helpful because then when you write something, you can think about the vocabulary words that you want to use, maybe the rhythm of your sentence. You can think about how you want to write to match the style that you want. For example, if you want to write an essay for school, maybe you shouldn't write it like a storybook, right? So you can learn these kinds of things if you read a lot. So reading is really important to improve your writing, okay? One big point here, though, that I have is in red right here. So this point, this says read edited text. Edited text, what is that? So this means text, so in a magazine or in a news article, that means read text that someone checked. So they checked the spelling of the words, or they checked the information in the article, yeah? So read text that someone checked, that someone edited, because then you know it's correct, it's accurate, right? So for example, text on social media, like Twitter or Facebook or whatever, Instagram, there's often errors, like everybody makes an error. We make a typing mistake, yeah? Everybody does it. But sometimes, especially when you're learning, it's really hard to understand when someone made an error and when it's maybe on purpose, yeah? So many people also use unique writing styles on social media. Maybe they have a kind of special way they like to write on social media, yeah? So it's best, my recommendation is you read edited text. You read a lot of edited text. Social media is very, very useful also. I'm going to talk about that later. but make sure you read a lot of edited text so that you know what's correct and what's incorrect, okay? So these are points number 1 and number 2. Write every day, make a very good habit for your writing practice, and 2, make sure to read, always read. Generally, reading is good. Reading is good for your brain, okay? So these are points number 1 and 2. Let's see, any questions in the chat? I will try to check live. Everybody's just saying hello, so welcome. Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Okay, great. So this is part 1. Let's take a super quick break, and then we'll go to part 2, okay? So if you missed it earlier, the team has this free level check test. So this banner says test your level now. So if you have not seen this, the team has a free level check test at EnglishClass101.com. So if you click the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook, you will find this page right here. So I went down on this page, but if you have an account at EnglishClass101.com, you can find the login right here. So you can log in to access this. If you need help, if you had some trouble accessing the test, there's this 1, 2, 3, 4 step process you can check, and I hope that will help you to access the test. So check this out. So you'll put your answers in for the test, and you will receive a recommendation based on your answer. So you'll get some ideas for some lessons to take, some courses, some pathways that you can use to study with. A bunch of my videos, a bunch of our team's videos. So please check this out. It's totally free. You can check it and just think about it. So this can be hopefully kind of a helpful tool if you're not sure what to do next. Okay? All right, let's continue on to part 2 now. So if you're just joining, today's lesson topic is how to improve your writing. I'm going to cover 6 skills or 6 tips to improve your writing skills. So let's go to part 2. And if you haven't, please make sure to hit the like button and share this video so other people can find today's lesson. Okay, let's go to part 2. Part 2, okay. So part 2 will be a little heavy, but very good, very important things. So part 2, let's look at tip number 3 here. So this is long, but it's very important. So tip number 3 is use words and phrases you find in other writers' texts. What does that mean? So words and phrases you find in other writers' texts. So let's look at this point in black, and we'll talk about it. So when you read something, whether you read a book, when you read a social media post, when you read a magazine article, when you read, make a note of new words and phrases that are useful for your personal communication, okay? So when you're reading, you make a note. You can write a note or just remember, maybe. So make a note of new words and phrases that are useful for your personal communication, right? So maybe you have some specific topic you want to learn about, yeah? So when you read things, remember those, like, oh, I should make a note of this word or this phrase. And then make an effort to use those new words in your writing, yeah? So when you go to your next writing practice session, you can remember, you can look at your list of words that are kind of special to you or extra super useful for you, and you can make an effort to use those new words. Because sometimes we feel, I know I do this too, you feel kind of like unsure, like, is this the right time to use this new word? But if you just practice using those new words, it helps a lot. Like you get used to using those new words. It feels sort of uncomfortable the first time you use a new word, right? But this can be a really, really good way to do that. So here's a tip in red. So this tip in red, the R is difficult to see. So friends' social media posts often have great new vocabulary words and slang. So look for words many friends use or words they use often, okay? So that was long, I know. So let's break this down. So friends' social media posts. So this is a really, really good thing to do. I do this still, learning other languages. So I check my friends or like the people I follow on social media. I look at the words they use, like in my case, studying Japanese. You can do it for English or any other language. So look at the words they use, like to talk about their day or to talk about their weekend or an event they went to. And then think, oh, I sometimes need to talk about that. Oh, that's how I can describe that. Take a few minutes to look up the word in a dictionary and make a note like, oh, that's what this means. You can use a note file on your computer too. So I like this tip because it comes from the people in my network. Yeah, so maybe my friends or like an acquaintance, a business connection. Those people naturally use those vocabulary words, so it feels more natural for me to also use those words. Yeah. So you can do the same thing with your social media network. So pay attention to the vocabulary words the people in your network are using, and then you can kind of go, oh, that's appropriate for me to use also. So this is something that helped me a lot to find more natural ways to express myself in writing. So this was a big tip that helped me. So maybe this can help you too. Okay. All right, let's move on to a different tip now. Tip number 4, very important, but I think maybe people think this is kind of boring, maybe, and I understand, but this is super important. So this tip is learn basic punctuation rules. Learn basic punctuation rules. What is punctuation? Punctuation are those small marks in the text. So that means we have to learn to use commas. So a comma is this mark in text, so going down. Periods, the little dot at the end of the sentence. Apostrophes, so the mark up here, like after an S or between an S and another word. Quotation marks, these marks like these. And there are others. So I recommend you learn these 4 are great to start with. These 4 are super good to start with. And of course, learn when to use capital letters and lowercase letters. So big letters and small letters, yeah? So learn basic punctuation rules because it really helps your reader understand the start and the stop of the sentence, understand like one idea and another idea, separate with commas. So these are really, really important things to learn how to use. I have some videos about these things, so you can check those out if you want to learn to use these marks correctly. Okay, so make sure that you use these punctuation rules. Okay, all right. So let's go to another quick break. So I'm already at the end of part 2. So let's go to another quick break and then we'll get to part 3. Time is going so quickly. I'm going to try and check the chat. Do you have an app to paraphrase a text? To the best of my knowledge, no. So to paraphrase a text means that you make it shorter, yeah? You summarize it shorter. To the best of my knowledge, we do not have that. Maybe there's some app out there, I don't know. Others, let's see. I don't see other questions about today's lesson. Okay, let's continue to a quick break, and then we'll go to the last 2 tips for today's lesson. Okay, so if you missed it, super quickly, because time is running out, super quickly, the team has a free, 100% free level check test. This banner at the bottom says test your level now. So if you want to do the free level check test that our team has prepared, you can find it at EnglishClass101.com. There's a link below the video. If you are watching on YouTube, check the YouTube description. If you are watching on Facebook, check the link above the video. If your video is big, you can check it slightly above and to the right of the video. Anyway, take the test and you will get a result like this. So this will give you some ideas for things to study next. I know lots of you write me messages about like, what do I do next? What's my level? And like, I can't test everybody. There are like a lot of you, like millions of you. So please check out the team's level check test. You will get personal recommendations according to your level and according to your test answers. So I really hope this is helpful for you. You can see like, oh, maybe I should study this next, or I should take this pathway or this course next. So please check this out. I hope that you can find some new ideas there. Okay, all right, let's get to the last part of today's lesson. Luis has a question. Where can we find edited text, please? Oh, okay, good question. So I said earlier, make sure to, not always, but make sure when you practice, you use edited text. So edited text, that means newspapers, magazines, and like official ones, yeah? So make sure that it's like an official magazine or an official newspaper or a book as well. So those types of text, those have been checked by someone. They've been checked for spelling and grammar issues and punctuation and so on. So basically just don't choose social media or like a blog or maybe like an unofficial maybe magazine. Sometimes people do them just for like passion projects. They're excited and that's great. But if you want to use something for your studies, I recommend you make sure to use edited texts like those. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, let's see, other questions. I don't see other questions about today's topic. So let's go on to part 3, the last 2 tips for today. So tips number 5 and number 6. Tip number 5 is copy. Copy. This might seem kind of strange, but it helps. Okay, so what do I mean by copy? So this tip is copy sentences from a book or article into a notebook. Okay, so this is really helpful when you're like, I don't know what to write. I have no ideas. I'm bored or I'm tired or whatever. This is something you can do with a physical notebook. So just write, like open your book or your newspaper, whatever, and just copy the sentences down. So choose like something you find interesting and then write those sentences in your notebook, like by hand. So copy that. So you can do this and look at how the words are connected. This is a good way to kind of focus on those small words like prepositions, for example, like by, to, for, on, those little tiny words that we sometimes don't think about and we don't want to study, right? So when you write them, you have to go slowly, right? And you have to think about them. Like, what is this word doing here? Like, why is this here? You can do the same thing with conjunctions, for example. So conjunctions, like coordinating conjunctions, those are words like and, but, or, so, for, those words. So those kinds of small words, we really think about them more when we write them. So copying can really be a good way to practice this kind of thing. And if you want an extra challenge, you can try to translate that copied text into your language. That's an extra challenge, but that can be a fun exercise too, especially if you are studying vocabulary. Okay. All right, so I have one more tip here in red also, is to copy flashcard answers on a piece of paper. So this is another thing you can do if you're studying vocabulary and you want a different way to study flashcards. Like, you know, when you study flashcards, you have one side is your language and one side is English or whatever, yeah? So you can look at the word in your language and then you write down the answer on a piece of paper and then check in English, yeah? So that's another way to practice. So you have to actually write the word, not just look at it to check. So this is another way you can practice your writing skills and your memorization skills and vocabulary skills. So that's a good one. I sometimes did this with a long piece of paper. I just checked all my flashcards and wrote the answer one by one, and then I checked afterwards. So that's something I recommend to practice many skills at one time. Okay, let's go to the last tip, tip number 6, because time is running out. Tip number 6 is very important. Tip number 6 is ask for feedback. So feedback means you ask someone, what do you think? Like, how do I improve? What can I do? Yeah. So ask for feedback. Here are some ideas to ask for feedback. So you can ask your teacher or your tutor, or maybe you have like a language exchange partner. You can ask them to check your work. So I know some of you use our website, use EnglishClass101.com. You have, depending on your plan, you have a teacher that you can send your writing samples to. You can write something and send it to them, and they will check it and give you some feedback. So they will correct your text. So you can use us, or you can use online writing feedback services also. So this one you can find a few different services online that are free. So the issue here, these online writing feedback services, sometimes they're just like language volunteers, like regular people, right? They just are studying, they can do a language exchange in writing. So they're not teachers, but they can help you at least to check your work and give you some tips. So there are some free writing feedback services you can use, okay? So an important thing to do, so after you get some feedback, after you get advice from your teacher or your tutor or your language exchange partner, this red star, make sure you use the feedback the next time you write. So make sure, of course, check the feedback. What did they say? What were your mistakes? Make sure you think about that the next time you go to write. Yeah, make sure that you actually use that feedback to make a change. Yeah, you can't just do the same thing over and over and over again, right? You have to do something different to get a different result. So use the feedback the next time that you write something. Okay? All right. So that is it. That is the last of our 6 tips. I hope that this is helpful. These are all things I did a lot when I was studying Japanese every day. So they were very, very helpful for me. And maybe if you have other tips, other writing tips, you can share in the chat as well. Let's see, I'm going to check the chat one more time. Do I see other questions? Haved says, how to paraphrase or rewrite a research paper to avoid plagiarism. Ooh, very important and very good question. There are a couple of different things you can do. I won't take this whole lesson to talk about it because it's a lot. You can do what's called citations. You can cite, C-I-T-E, your sources. So do a Google search, how to cite, how to C-I-T-E a paper, and that will give you some information. That is what American university students are taught to do. That's what we do to make sure you include your source, your original source, appropriately, so you don't get in trouble for stealing someone else's information. Yeah, that's the short answer there. Very important. All right, let's finish. That's the end. So someone says, can you share the test level link in the chat? It's on the Facebook page. You have to go to that page to get the link there. So I physically cannot share it in the chat. It's on the page there. Okay, I have to finish there for today. So those were 6 tips to help you improve your writing. I hope that you got some good tips and some good ideas for things you can do, like starting today, to work on your writing skills. I know it's a difficult one to develop. So here are today's lesson boards. If you want to take a screenshot, now is your last chance. So today we talked about, number 1, writing every day. Number 2, reading and why that's important to build your writing skills. In part 2, we talked about number 3, using words and phrases you find in other writers' texts. Number 4, learning some basic punctuation rules. 5, copying other people. And 6, asking for feedback. So these are, I hope, 6 pretty easy to do, easy to implement, easy to start tips you can use right now. Okay, so let's finish up for today's lesson. I'll be back, of course, next week. Next week, same time, same channel, different topic. Here's next week's lesson information. I'll be back next week, October 12th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. If you don't know your local time, please use your amazing Google skills, or you can set a notification on YouTube, set a notification on Facebook, or if you follow me on Instagram, I always post a link and a topic reminder in my stories. So follow me on Instagram to get that. The link is in the YouTube description. Next week, we're going to talk about perfect future. We're going to talk about perfect future tense. Oh, this one's a challenging one, I think, but I get questions about this a lot. So For example, a future perfect tense construction looks like by the time I blah, 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 I will have blah, blah, blah. So we're going to cover future perfect tense in next week's lesson. When do we use this tense? Why do we use this tense? We're going to talk about all of that next week. So please join me again next week to talk about this very interesting and very useful grammar point. All right, so I have to finish up this week's lesson there. Thank you very much for joining me live. I really appreciate that. The team really appreciates that. Thank you very much for liking and sharing this video. We had lots of people from all around the world here today. Also, don't forget, if you want to, now is a great time, go and do the level check test. You can find this link below or above the video. One of those two. Okay, so I will finish up for today. So thanks again for joining me live. I hope that you have a great day. I hope you have a great evening. Have a great weekend, and I will see you again next time. Bye.